Hey everyone! Today I want to talk to you about the 20 most important things that I learned in my 20s. I just turned 30 on May 22nd, and I'm really excited to be starting this next decade. But also, I'm really glad that I learned all of these things before starting the next decade because they're really going to come in handy for the rest of my life. If we haven't met yet, my name is Isabel. I am a dog lover. I'm a brand designer. I'm a recovering perfectionist. And I love talking about productivity and business and life and branding and design and creativity. I have ADHD, so I talk about a whole lot of things. But in summary, what this channel is about is helping you embrace your weird and build a better and happier business, brand, and life. So, without further ado, first thing that I've learned when we talked about embracing your weird is you are not too much. All our lives, we're told that we're too loud or too intense or too crazy, or that we're not good enough, right? That we're not pretty enough or not skinny enough or not whatever enough. So you're either too much or not good enough. But the right people will always find you enough. You will never be too loud or too intense for the right people. You will never be not skinny enough or not pretty enough or not whatever enough for the right people. There are a group of humans out in the world that will love you for exactly who you are. And that's why you need to embrace your weird in order to call those people in, right? The second thing, self-compassion is the easiest way to change yourself and your habits and the things that you want to change and improve on. This one was a hard one for me to learn. I was always a perfectionist. I was always very hard on myself. I was always telling myself what I hadn't done and shaming myself for what I hadn't done and feeling guilty. And I started reading these studies that explained that self-compassion is actually the best way to achieve change because you can't shame yourself into change, but you can love yourself into it. So that's like another huge lesson. The third one I would say is that boundaries. Boundaries are not about what the other person does. It is about what you do. And this is something that took me a little bit to learn as well. So I thought boundaries were like, don't say I'm too intense or too loud because that hurts me. And then people would still say it. And I'm like, wait, I set a boundary. Nope. Boundaries are if you call me names or if you treat me badly or if you insert your boundary here, this is what I will do in response. Because it's never about what the other person can or can't do. It's about what you will or will not allow. So if you treat me badly, I will end this friendship. I will leave. I will stop calling. That is a boundary. Fourth thing, your intuition is your biggest ally. I am still learning this one in the sense that I know it, but when you know something and you don't always apply it, I will sometimes get an intuitive hit and I don't follow my intuition and something happens and I'm like, my intuition told me this. I should have listened. Your intuition is your biggest ally. It will tell you when to go after things, when to stop, when to change direction, and really just follow it. Fifth thing, creativity. Creativity is not about coming up with this brand new thing that no one else has ever heard of, okay? There's a lot of pressure to be original, and in reality, nothing is original. Creativity comes from making connections from things that already exist in a new way, okay? So I'll give you the example of Uber. Uber was a totally new thing that revolutionized the way people move around, but it wasn't a new thing, right? It was the idea of a taxi service type thing that was on demand. On demand services already existed. Taxi services already existed. They just joined these two ideas to create something new. Once I learned that, I felt a lot of pressure be taken off because I realized that I'm really good at connecting things and I can do that all day long. I have ideas all day long, but I used to put a lot of pressure on myself thinking, oh, but this comes from this. or this already stems from this other thing. And I couldn't let myself just put it out there. And I heard this recently, and I don't remember who said it. I wish I could remember. If I do remember, I'll put it in the captions or somewhere in this video. But it said something where if you think something is original, it's because you don't know the source. Because everything has sources. Everything comes from somewhere. Nothing is created out of nothing. Okay. 6. Am I on number 6? I think I'm on number 6. 6? Yeah, let's go with it. 6. Um, People are not necessarily going to like or support your healing journey. And that's okay. They don't have to. When you start healing and when you start growing and when you start changing, there's some people that are going to resist that with everything they've got for their own reasons, right? It could be because they don't like the way you're heading. It could be because they feel left behind. It could be because you're showing them that they haven't changed certain things and they haven't healed certain things. All of that, that's theirs. It's their thing. Just know that the right people will always support your healing and growth. The right people will take it upon them to grow with you and support you along the way. The people who resist it will at some point join you or at some point leave. But if they leave, they were not the right people. And that's okay. Even if it hurts, that's okay. 7, kind of along this line, you create your own reality and everything's a mirror. I do want to caveat saying this that no, you cannot control the circumstances you were born in. And there's some people who are born with incredible privilege and some people who are not. And I'm not saying this, you create your own reality. This is not a the poor is only poor because he wants to be. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I don't believe that. But what I'm saying is there are things that you focus on and there are things that you do in your day to day that if you change them little by little, you can change your reality. Along with that, everything is a mirror. When you're triggered by something, it's usually showing you something inside yourself. And sometimes it's not a direct mirror, but it is showing you something. And you need 2 people for every situation. You need to engage in every situation. If someone insults me and I leave, I changed my reality. If someone insults me and I stay and I just complain about them insulting me, I'm playing in that game. And again, I want to be really careful with how this is interpreted. There's really tough situations to get out of. There's really hard situations and complicated situations and layered situations. And not everything is just as easy as oh, he insulted me, let me leave. However, you do create your reality and you can change your reality if you want to. It's not an instant thing. It takes time, but it can happen. That was a heavy one. I don't want that to be interpreted in the wrong way. Let's move on. 8. One person can make an impact in the world. A single person can make a huge impact in the world. So imagine what the world could be if we all decided to make an impact. I know we feel small sometimes, but we can change and we can create a ripple effect and we do impact the world around us. And it's up to us to choose to do it in the right way. 9, learning always comes with a dip. This comes from Seth Godin's book, The Dip, where he has this little graph where when you start learning something new and you're really excited about it, right? You're up here and it's oh, this is new, this is great, this is exciting, da 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 da. And then suddenly, as you're trying to get better, things become really repetitive and really boring and really draining. If you're trying to learn, how to serve in tennis, you have to serve a gazillion times and you're going to see marginal improvements, or you're not going to even see the improvements, even though you're making them until later. And so that's the dip. But then once you're through the dip is when the reward comes. and when you get faster and you get better and you go pro. And so learning is always going to come with a dip. But if you can push yourself past the dip, there's no stopping you. Most people get stuck in the dip. Don't get stuck in the dip. 10, language and words matter. And they matter and they have power. And this is like a two-sided lesson. First side of this is how you speak to yourself matters, and what you say and put out into the world matters. Your words do have power, and it is proven, like scientifically proven, this is not like a woo-woo thing, that words have an impact on your brain and your reality. Now, the other thing is, this impacts the world around you. It impacts yourself, but it also impacts the world around you, right? How a news article is written will change the perception of that news article. How we describe boys versus girls changes how they view themselves, which is why there's so many campaigns now of don't tell your girl she's pretty, tell her she's strong. And it changes the perception other people have. It changes the perception that person has. It changes the perception of a situation. So words and language can really make an impact in reality. Was that 10? Maybe. 11. If I mess up the counting, it's fine. Math has not ever been my strong suit. 11. You can learn a lot about someone by how they treat people that they cannot relate to. When you cannot relate to someone else's situation, you can still choose to respond with compassion and empathy, even if you haven't lived that, or even if you don't understand it, or even if you can't understand it. You can still choose kindness. You can still choose empathy. You can still choose compassion. People who don't go that route, you can learn a lot about them from those situations. On that similar note, you can learn a lot about people by how they treat animals. I'm a dog rescuer. I rescue dogs all the time. Well, and birds and squirrels and things, but mostly dogs. You can learn a lot about humans by how they treat their animals and other animals and how they talk about animals. Again, lots of people I wouldn't want around me. We can put that as like 11 and 12. So 13. You can't change anyone. So those people, don't even bother changing them. You can only change yourself. No matter how hard you try, no matter how motivated you are to try, you cannot change anyone. You can't. People have to choose to change, and they have to take the steps. You can share, you can inspire, you can motivate, but people have to want to change, and they have to be willing to take the steps themselves. You can't change them. 14, on a similar note to that, healing is hard. It's really, really hard. Not healing and staying unhealed is really, really hard. You get to choose your hard. 15. Let's bring it lighter. Being weird is a superpower. People have told me I'm weird my entire life. It is my superpower. I am weird, and I love it now. I used to feel bad. I used to feel odd. I used to feel left out. And now I realize, wow, there's a bunch of really awesome, weird humans out in the world that are as weird as I am, or even weirder, or weird in a different way. And they are awesome humans. Being weird is a superpower. Being weird is what makes me stand out, and that is amazing. 16. 16? 16. Spending money on things that make you happy is not a waste of money. On a similar note, spending time on things that make you happy is not a waste of time. I was always taught to only spend money on necessities and to only spend time on productive things. You have to be productive all the time. And you can only spend money on things that you're going to use 100 gazillion times and that are important and that are needs. Nope. Joy is not a waste of time or a waste of money. Things that make you happy are not a waste of time or a waste of money. Buy the thing, spend the time, do the hobby, just do it. Did my camera run out of battery? Yes, it did. So 17, productivity for the sake of being productive makes no sense. This was one that was really hard for me to learn because I felt like I always needed to be productive and I always needed to be doing something. And that left very little time for rest and relaxation and just things that make me happy, which goes, ties back into the point before. Because what is the point of being productive all the time if you're not going to enjoy your life? If you're not going to enjoy the little things, and if you're not going to be happy, and if you're not going to do the things that make you happy? I love being productive. I love getting things done. But the point of it for me is so that I have more free time, so that I can enjoy my life more. And I realized that I wasn't doing that because I felt like I had to be productive all the time. Number 18 has to do with perfectionism. I am a recovering perfectionist. And the thing that helped me get over a lot of my perfectionism was realizing that perfectionism stems, in some cases, in my case, from a deep fear of rejection, judgment, and abandonment. It's not that you want everything to be perfect. It's that you're scared of what's going to happen if it isn't. But the reality is, people are going to judge you anyways. No matter what you do, there's some people who are going to judge you. It's never going to be perfect for everyone. So all you got to do is do your best attempt and put it out there, because the right people are going to appreciate the imperfections in it as well. And that really helped me let go of perfectionism. Working on my fear of rejection and fear of abandonment helped me overcome a lot of my perfectionist tendencies. 19 is about learning to love yourself and how that's the most important thing you'll ever do. Learning to love who you are, learning to embrace who you are, embrace your weird. You're going to live with yourself for your entire life. There's nothing as sad as thinking that you're going to live with someone that you don't love for your entire life. So learn to love yourself. Learn to love your good parts, your bad parts, and all your parts. And the last one, and this one is really special for me, is that it is never too late to go after your dreams. I've had a dream of starting a YouTube channel since I was 15 years old. I just turned 30 and I started my YouTube channel a couple of weeks before I turned 30. I know I'm young. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, I'm not young anymore, da da da. But it took me 15 years to go after this dream. And now I'm here going after this dream. Will it turn out? Will it not turn out? No one knows, right? But I am here and I'm going after it. So if you feel like it is too late, like you've been putting it off for too long, you're not. It is never too late to start going after the things you want. And that was it. Those are the 20 biggest lessons that I learned in my 20s. I hope you come along for the ride that will be my 30s. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I am putting out videos every single Friday, and if there's anything specifically that you would like to see from me, comment it below and maybe I'll make a video about it. Bye!